Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the campus of Mount Vernon Nazarene University, where we're getting ready for the third and final day of hoops action for your La Salette Lions at the National Christian School Athletic Association National Championship. Before I bring Father Chevrier on with me and get ready for this broadcast, Father McMahon has made a video, one last interview with myself, and we just want to share his final reflections. There'll be two parts, part one now and part two at halftime. So here comes part one. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Folks, we're back with Father McMahon for his final reflections on the La Salette basketball program during his tenure here as our headmaster, as our founder at the academy. So Father, I just wanted to get you started here. What would be your ideal starting five if they were all seniors today and you had a game this afternoon? Who would you pick?
Okay, it's a great question. It's a great question. I've been thinking about this. I think, as usual, what you're going to do as a coach before you go into the game, you've got to see who you're playing. So I thought about it. If we were to go with a big lineup, so we needed to go big against someone, I think in that situation, I think in any lineup, James Dyser is going to start. So he's going to be your point guard. That's going to go without saying. Then his backup would probably be his brother. And then we leave it at that for those two. Going big, I'm going to start Joel Worm, number 31, at the 5. John Warnowski at the 4. I think you're going to want someone like John Carlisle in there, but I would decide. It would either be John Carlisle or Eric Populus. Likely Populus. I think it would depend on, at that point, if we really need rebounding, I'd probably go Populus. But if we need a little bit of less shooting, and maybe John. And then I think at the 2 guard we would go with Michael Middlemore, and then James starting. So that's what I'd give my starting 5 if we were going big. We're going to play some, we got to go big. If we're going to go small, as a matter of fact, we turn it around, we go small, we're going to run the ball a little bit. I then go with John at the 5. He can face up. Joel was not much of a face-up player, but a dominating presence inside, and you really want to pound it into him. I might even switch that and go back to the big lineup, Worm and Populus at the 4 and 5. That might be it, and put John at the 3 because he could play a 3. That would be a real tough lineup to play against. And then Michael Middlemore at the 2 and James at the 1. Tough. If we're going to go small, we put John at the 4. I think then I would put Eric at the. I would probably put Eric at the 5 actually, and keep John at the 4. They would be able to run. Eric is athletic enough to get out and run. There's no doubt about that. Then I would keep probably at that point Michael Middlemore at the 3. I think then I would put Dominic Martin in at the 2. Dominic was forced to play a bit of point guard. He probably would have been better at a 2 guard. Really became an outstanding shooter. Could dribble well enough to get the ball up the court. Maybe a little more under control than Peter Middlemore, but Peter probably could have played the 2 as well. And then James again is going to be at the 1. I think if we get to the point near where we need to be hitting 3s, now we're going to put, I think. Now you might even throw Ben Populus in there, but I think if you have Peter, Michael Middlemore, Dominic Martin in there, James can hit a 3, Johnny can hit the 3, Eric certainly loved to shoot the 3, and did hit it, as we saw in the clips. I mean, all 17 of his 3-pointers are all shown. We didn't see all 384 that didn't go in. So you could see that if we had a defensive team, depending on what kind of defense, half court, you're probably going to want Worm in there again in the middle if you're playing some kind of a zone, or even just in the back there. Although John would have been very good in the back and probably a little quicker than Worm. If we're pressing, so you can see there's all different lineups. If it comes down to, and this is the all McMahon team. Who do you want on the floor? Well, I'll put that last. if you have you need to have 5 guys on the court that you're content with. If they get fouled, they have to go to the line. Say we're up by a few points, the other team's going to foul us to put us on the line. Got to hit the foul shots. Who's going to hit the foul shots? Again, I think at that point, Johnny Warnowski deserves there. Populous, Eric, I think it's, you know, he's just a guy who want to be on the line. I would put John Carlisle. I would put probably James Deister as well. Dominic. I mean, those guys. Even Ben Populous. Peter hit some shots. I mean, almost anyone on that list you would probably want on there. But if you had one foul shot to take, it'd have to be Charles Deister. He hit the 3 against Georgetown. He proved it. Number of players of the years have hit big foul shots. None were bigger than that. Needed all 3. Down by 2. Hit the 3. Boom, boom, boom. The all ice McMahon team. Then I got to start out with Charles Deister, John Carlisle. I mean, it's tough to say at that point. Guys you just want on the line. I always say, if the whole world were on the line and someone had to make the shot, any player in the entire history of the world, I want to take him myself. I'm going to do that every year for the February Frenzy. This year we got almost $100 per shot. Every time I take that shot, I've got to hit that shot worth $100 for the Academy. You talk about pressure. And I still make around 90, so we'll see how I do this year. I think that
Apologies, folks. You may have seen a black screen there for a bit, and that was because there was a fire alarm going off. You'll still see the flashing lights in the building, but it appears that there is no fire, so hopefully the basketball will be able to continue with a little bit of a delay, but hopefully not much more of a delay. And we're getting ready for the round 3 action of the NCSAA National Championships with your La Salette Lions playing the Brothers Conquering Adversity Lions, BCA. And I'm joined today in the commentary position by Father Chevrier. How you doing today, Father?
You know, Coach, well, I'm happy to be alive, first of all. Happy to be alive. And I'm ready for a win.
Just say you're only 2 feet away from the fire exit.
Oh, good. And ready for a win. You know, the Lions losing a tough one yesterday.
Yeah, just really not having the legs to finish off that run and perhaps leaving themselves a little bit too much work, going down 17 to start the second half, but then storming back after a savage two-handed alley-oop dunk by Ian Burns, receiving the pass from Egan Quain. That was certainly a highlight of the tournament.
That was a fantastic play. Ian elevated there. I was talking to a scout who was at the tournament from a college in Virginia after the game, and he was asking me about Ian's play. He said he was shocked that Ian could get up there that high and that quickly. Yeah. And I said I think the whole gym was a little surprised by the play, us included.
Yeah. And what a pass by Egan Quain as well. Quain had an unconscious game the other day, well, yesterday to be precise, and he was just starting with the hard work, diving for every single loose ball, really fighting for every 50-50 play, getting back in transition defense, and he had a really sensational one, even though I believe he only went for 7 points. I believe you saw, was it Adese and Burns both went for over 20 in that game. So a fantastic performance by the Lions yesterday, falling a little bit short to the at the end, going down the New Faith Titans. And just a reminder, we are having a bit of technical difficulties. The state of Ohio seems to have limited internets, so we're not necessarily going to be able to give you the best picture for these broadcasts. Once we get to a state that's got a little bit more technology for us, we will upload those games so you can watch them in their entirety. Also some great interviews with Father McMahon. I know you just saw one. We've got the second half of his reflections on his 13-year tenure in the basketball program in that time coming up at halftime today. Now, Father, you got a little preview of that, and it was a really special interview.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think it's the best segment that I've seen this year. The other ones are very good, but that one's a definite #1 video. Great commentary, great observations by Father.
Yep, so we're excited to share that with you. We'll do our best to give you a bit more of a radio-style play-by-play, since we know you can't see all the action that's going on the floor in front of you today. We got a little bit of a strange commentary position as well for this one. Looking from right underneath the basket, I believe the basket that BCA will be attacking first here in the first half, and we're waiting on a tip-off time as well. We'll let you know as soon as that becomes apparent to us. It seems all the players had to go outside, stand in the cold. They're trying to get... And it looks like we are being asked by the fire marshal to head out again. So we will be leaving the building once more. We'll be back with you as soon as they are ready for us to play basketball. Again, apologies for this delay. We'll be back as soon as we can. Well, folks, we are back from the second evacuation. I'm still waiting for my broadcast partner. We got separated in the frozen Ohio tundra outside. It's a terribly cold 49 degrees out there. But we are told that we're all clear now, so we'll hope that is actually the case, and we'll hope we'll get some basketball action here in a moment. Teams are both filing in again and starting to warm up. We still haven't seen the referees come back to the arena since the first evacuation, so that'll obviously be a big indicator that there's actually going to be a game. We were talking outside. If it gets too close to the Duke-Carolina game this afternoon, I might have to blow up this game, call it an end to that one. But we eagerly await the tip of this game. BCA, similar position to La Salette. They got here first losing to First Love, the other team that made the championship game other than Trinity. And then they lost yesterday to Andrews Osborne in a tightly contested game. Talk is, you know, the La Salette Lions definitely got the tougher draw facing Trinity in the opening game. I'll wait for Father to confirm. I think he got to see the end of the Trinity First Love championship game, but Trinity was up last I saw, and it seemed like they were on track to go on and win the NCSAA National Championship. Just waiting for Father, who's made it back, to confirm that. But the Lions having to go through the much tougher side of the bracket to get here. There were probably 3 teams that the Lions could have easily handled on the other side. BCA, IMG Academy, second team, their first team being in Europe touring, and Andrews Osborne all would have been probably pretty easy matchups for the Lions, and possibly a bit easier of a way to get eased into this tournament. Wouldn't you think, Father?
Then our first game against Trinity. Yeah, Trinity was a baptism by fire for sure, but an incredibly talented ball club. Their game, I'm sure, would have been delayed as well. Their championship game, I believe they had a few minutes to play in the fourth.
Oh, still left.
They hadn't finished the fourth when we came in here.
Last I saw, they were up. I was waiting for you to come back to confirm where that game sat.
They were up by double digits in the fourth quarter, so
yeah,
I assumed that they would have closed things off. It looked like they were solidly in control.
A fantastic and deserving champion in Trinity, the Thunder from Las Vegas, Nevada. 3 years in a row they had come here and lost in the championship game. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah, their coach told me in a conversation I had with him after our game against them that being the basketball coach and the AD, he said if they didn't win it this year, he was going to fire himself.
Well, he won't have to do that as his boys get the win. Oh, well, presumably, I guess.
Presumably got the win. Yeah.
Presumably got the win in the other gymnasium. And then the Lions' second loss came at the hands of the New Faith Titans. And you would think that they would go on and easily beat Andrew Osborne in the Tier 2 championship game.
Yeah, they have a huge physical advantage over them, size and strength. So imagine they could work them over on the inside, and also some quickness. Andrews Osborne was undersized, but they had some very quick guards. However, I think with New Faith's athleticism and size, they should probably dispatch of them pretty handily.
Well, yeah, New Faith obviously bigger, but not really giving up much quickness either. And still waiting on the arrival of the officials. Haven't seen them yet. Given the boys a nice long time to get warmed back up. As you see Kumba taking a 3 during his warm-up. He's seen a few more minutes at this tournament, a bit better matchup. It's really hard to get him into games playing man-to-man situations in the state of Illinois just because there's no team that has a guy that really, that's really a good matchup for the 6'11" sophomore.
Yeah, the few times, especially in JV games, well, not the few times, the times when Coleman's been on the floor in JV games and in varsity games, teams just spread everybody out around the perimeter, taking the Lions in their man-to-man defense and getting Comba as far away from the basket as possible. You know, nobody's really had a guy that's going to go down low and match him and try to compete in the post. So, yeah, it's been tough for him in that aspect in the season, but in this tournament, as you said, Coach, he has people more his size, so he's been able to mix it up a little bit.
And we'll see. The BCA Lions, of course, were the team the La Salette Lions beat last year in this same fixture at the end of the NCSAA tournament. The Lions beat them by about 20, I believe. And watch out for the back and forth between senior Lion Joel Adese and BCA's number 5, Tervan Bonito. Bonito, and there was a little bit of niggle back and forth between Bonita and Adese last year.
Yeah, I was always going to say that, Coach, but I was afraid I'd be using the word improperly.
Yeah, well, it's a noun. That's the problem. You guys keep trying to use it as a verb.
See, there we go.
Parts of speech you learn. You're always learning here at on the basketball broadcasts. It's been a pleasure to do it this season with you, Father. I know we've had some students who've done a great job stepping in. Paul Krause has definitely gotten better at it over the course of the year, and it's been great fun with guys like Tommy Martin and them, but it's always a pleasure to do it with you, Father.
Oh, likewise, Coach.
It's great to educate you on how basketball should be.
You know, I'm always open to learn, so we'll see how that goes. Do we have a shorter court for you today?
Yeah, definitely a shorter court, and only 84 feet today, I believe. Is that the dimensions of? It's not 94 feet. It's not the full college court experience that the Lions have been having to run. Hopefully, that means those Lions' legs last a little bit longer in this one. There have to be some heavy ones. Only about 7 players, maybe 8, getting into the rotation this tournament for the Lions with any regularity. I guess we did see, Jay Janis come in for a few minutes in that once the Trinity game was long gone. Same with Thomas Bronner. But other than that, you haven't seen a terribly deep Lions bench being able to come out and play in this tournament.
Right, yeah, because of the physical mismatches. Speaking of Trinity, that was something that really impressed me watching them today. They have been playing this entire tournament with 7 players as the coach left their 4 bench players back home in Nevada for disciplinary reasons, team discipline issues. So they played this whole tournament with 7 players, and just the speed and the quickness they were able to show in the championship game today after playing 2 days in a row with such a short bench. I was impressed.
Well, yesterday apparently they had a thriller and, well, not necessarily, more of a snooze fest in 4 overtimes, trying to conserve their legs. They won the tip-off in all 4 overtime periods and held for 1.
Held for 1, yeah.
And they finally got a 3 on the. It took 4, but they finally got a 3 and won it.
So, yeah, and I understood why they were doing that because they only had 2 guys.
Yeah.
So they're not going to try to play up and down in overtime. But I was shocked when I heard that the team they were playing just sat back in their 2-3 zone and didn't try to put any pressure on them. A team that had a decently deep bench. I would have tried to put some pressure on and up the tempo a little bit. But
well, the hard thing about playing the Thunder is they're a team that knows how to run. So if you're trying to run, you're going to get their best.
That's right.
Starting 5 on the floor for the Lions are the same 5 you've seen most of the way this season. Quain and Moss in the backcourt with forwards Ian Burns, Joel Adese, and Garrett Drew. Very special game for the senior Lions today, as that's their final game in the blue and white, at least for basketball. Some of them will be playing rugby. The 5 on the floor for BCA. We've got number 12, Nick Dreyer. Number 5, the one that we watch out for the back and forth with Joel Adese. Number 5, Tervan Bonito. Number 23, Henson Yuju. Number 0, Isaiah Dillinger. And number, who did I miss out there? Number 30, Daniel Durst. And the Lions win the tip-off. Caleb Moss moves it to Adese for a 3 on the right side. No good. Moss on the rebound and gets the putback to give the Lions an early 2-0 lead. It's exciting today. We can see the scoreboard. We haven't had that luxury all tournament.
I almost don't know what to do with myself, with all this information coming in, Coach. I mean, you can see the game time, you can see the score.
We don't have to make it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, if we were making up the score, we could have done a better job. Oh, and Caleb Moss rejects Benito off the backboard, but after he blows past Garrett Drew, And that first shot, three-pointer, no good from Ian Burns, but Joel Adese gets a kick out on the rebound, and he puts up a nice little 12-foot jumper. Lions have a 4-0 lead now.
And both of the Lions possessions coach have seen a little bit questionable shot selection from the outside by the two post guys, both by Adese and by the captain Ian Burns, who don't normally attempt too many threes, but both of their misses have been followed by nice putbacks by the Lions. Nice offensive rebounds and good shot attempts after.
Uju's long-range jump shot, no good, and Caleb Moss can't get the handle. It goes out of bounds. And there is a double dribble by the big man Bonito working on Garrett Drew. And there's one of the few matchups this year that has a bit of size on Garrett.
He does. A little bit of thickness there.
Apparently, again, BCA Lions played the La Salette Lions last year, and apparently he's a little bit thicker than he was last year. And a three from Caleb Moss. So we'll see if his legs are a little bit heavier in this tournament. He's been spending a lot of time. When you see him go to the bench, he's just laying on the deck trying to gasp for air a bit. So we'll see if fitness becomes a factor, and the Lions try to run, as we see a nice little putback there by Nick Dreyer. And Egan Quain takes the inbound pass, going back the other way. Foul called as Quain comes into the front court. And this referee we saw the other day, he's about the only referee in the tournament. He is calling just about every single touch as a foul.
He has. He's the only ref we've seen kind of call the play a little bit tighter. Most of the referees so far letting the guys play.
Even though as a pure basketball fan, defining pure in my own way, after we see that layup by Quain, I'd like to see a little bit more go. But in terms of what's best for La Salette, it's probably a little bit tighter called ball game. That's what they've been used to in the IHSA competition.
Yeah, exactly right, Coach.
The ball goes around the horn. Dreyer drives into Garrett Drew's chest, puts it up off the glass and in. And now that score is 9-4. Lions still up. Dreyer's got all 4 points for the BCA Lions.
And both of those going to the basket, showing nice body control. Maybe not an extremely quick player, but seems to be a composed finisher off the dribble.
And there's a charge. Ian Burns planting his feet and drawing the foul from Isaiah Dillinger, number 0. That's his first foul in the game, and the second team foul against the BCA Lions.
Let's see. Moss is matched up against number 23 for BCA, Uju. We'll see how he does against him. Uju's has good size, good strength. See how his quickness goes.
And there's a long two from Joel Adese. He's getting guarded by big number 5, Bonito. And it seems that he thinks that he can play a little bit away from the basket today with perhaps the bigger, less quick-footed Bonito trying to guard him, take him away from the basket.
Yeah, and that would be a smart play. Joel definitely is better than Bonito is on the perimeter. He's a faster guy with a little better skill set, so that would be a smart decision for him.
Burns has it in that left side, then to Moss for a long three. That goes. And now it's 14-4. Lions have a 10-point lead with 4:30 to go here in the first period of play. Over the timeline comes Uju. He's working on Adese. Gets a screen, comes to this left corner to Dreyer up top. And a three attempt, no good by Durst. Bonito gets the rebound and kicks it out to Uju, who gets a 2 from about 18 feet.
He's the first BCA player to score besides Dreyer. Dreyer had their first 2 baskets.
Quain has his dribble knocked out of his hands, then recovers it, gets it to Adese. He's got a nice little jump shot going. He's got a few buckets here early in the game. I believe he's got 6 points at the moment. Ball over the timeline with Dillinger, but then the interior pass to Bonito's cut off. Quick the other way. Drew goes, gets the and one.
Very nice play off the dribble there. Adese giving it back to Drew on the fast break, and Drew showing nice composure around the basket, finishing it up high and drawing the foul.
And he's probably enjoying 10 fewer feet on the court today.
a shorter distance to run. Also, the past two teams that we played, Trinity especially, but also New Faith, they're such faster players than Garrett is that it's nice for him to be able to match speed a little bit with BCA.
And the and one is converted. 19-6 our score now. 3:37 to play in the first. And the clock is not running. Now it finally goes. And a blocking foul as Burns was still moving his left foot. The shot's no good, but Dreyer will go to the line and try and pick up his 7th and 8th point of the ball game.
Ian Burns trying to draw his second charge there on a BCA player, setting up maybe a little too far underneath the basket and getting there just a touch late.
First free throw no good, to the left and short. Dreyer dribbles, eyes the hoop, and puts up his second. That one is good, so brings that deficit to 12 for his Lions. Burns has it, now to Moss in the corner, to Adese, who gets hassled a little bit in the post, now has a double team, goes to the hoop, draws the contact, and throws it out of bounds.
Now we see BCA starting to get a little bit physical with Adese. I would expect them to continue to play him that way. And Adese trying to go into the contact just to draw a foul. No real chance to make that shot. But the referee wasn't buying what Joel was selling, so BCA basketball.
Ball tipped by Ian Burns, so it will stay here on the baseline to the right of the hoop. Got to remember that directions are not the way I'm seeing it today.
We saw number 1 for BCA, Dan Belor?
Belov.
Belov, excuse me. Belov have a nice game yesterday, kind of going off for a lot of points, especially late in the ball game. And they're playing Andrews Osborne, so Lions will have to keep an eye on him today to make sure he doesn't get going again.
And one for Joel Adese, fights through the contact on the arm and gets the hoop to go. And the Lions are running, and that should make it 21-7 with the free throw to come. 2:48 to play here in the first quarter.
And we see already 8 points apiece, both for Adese and Caleb Moss early on in the game, Coach.
Both of them outscoring the entire BCA team. And also something to watch, the foul count. Already 5 team fouls for the BCA Lions in blue and yellow. And fighting through a bit of contact is Belov to get his pass from his shot from underneath the basket to go. Now it's with Quain to the right on the perimeter. He's working, well, he was working on Durst. Then he dishes it to Adese, back to Quain. Gets a screen from Drew, drives against Dreyer off the high window and gets it to go. See, his dad is happy to see that.
Megan Quain's putting on a show throughout this tournament with his dad in attendance. Mr. Quain, one of the few parents able to make it all the way out here to Ohio to watch this event.
And there's a good putback for Bonito. He's got 2 more points and puts the BCA Lions into double digits, but Garrett Drew makes up for it, not boxing out, but he goes down to the other end and gets a nice little shot from underneath the hoop, gets inside position. Now Uju's driving. He picks up a reach from the senior, Egan Quain.
26-11 lead here, Coach, with just under 2 minutes to go in this first quarter of play.
And Tommy Bronner and Will Schrader will check in for Egan Quain and Garrett Drew. They try to inbound into the paint, but it's knocked away by Schrader and pass to Adese, who loses it. Durst goes down the lane, can't get his shot to go. Uju dribbles out to the corner, and then Bronner takes the pass and runs into the game on the far court.
Yeah, I was almost mixing it up in the girls' game we have going on next to us.
I think he was going to the wrong hoop, Father. Here's the inbound pass from Uju to Belov. Belov working on Burns. He gets around a screen, can't get his layup to go. Coming back with the putback is Bonito, and he draws the foul on Caleb Moss.
Caleb covering his mouth there, thinking that he swatted that shot cleanly.
Yeah, he pinned that one pretty good against the glass there. The ball stayed on the glass after Bonito's hand was coming down, so that usually means that it's a good block.
Yeah, usually. We said that this ref does call things a little more tightly. Another substitution happening with Egan Quain coming back into the game and Caleb Moss coming out.
I believe that was his second foul. So the junior will sit for a bit. Free throw attempt, no good. And Adese had the chance to save it, but after he knocked it out of bounds, but instead chooses to let it go, and it's BCA basketball. He was arguing that call. I'm not sure how.
No, I don't think it was the call, Coach. I think he was talking to the bench. I think he'd heard something. He'd heard them saying to let it go out of bounds, like it allowed such a BCA player. So a little bit of miscommunication there.
And Quain goes up with it and can't do anything, so that's a possession arrow, or a jump ball, and possession arrow favoring BCA.
It's also nice being so close to the game, Coach. We're right behind the basket here. It was in the center court. We were up in the rafters calling the game from
we were literally
quite a distance.
A whole basketball court away. Dreyer driving against Bronner, kicking to Uju. Uju goes down low to Bonito. Back out top to Durst for three, and that'll go. Makes it a correction, only a 2. Nope, it is a 3. Making it a 12-point ball game. Quain has it, fakes, drives in, finds Adese, who goes up after getting his man in the air. That's a 6th foul for BCA, Broadfording.
One more foul by the BCA Lions, and La Salette will be in the bonus in the 1-and-1.
Adese to shoot 2 free throws.
Nice move by Adese around the basket there, calmly collecting himself, feeling Benito on his back, and finishing with going up with confidence around the hoop to draw that foul.
Makes the first, second one goes up, and it is no good, but rebounded by Will Schrader, kicked out to Adese, who thinks about the 3, instead steps in, takes a long 2, no good.
Yeah, a little too much by Joel there, I think. Might have been done better to swing that ball around the perimeter a little bit and post up on the inside. But
we see a little bit of motion, and then Uju takes a 3, no good. Bonito gets inside position, gets a putback. It's 11-point ball game with 20 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Egan Quain takes it up the floor, goes to Will Schrader in the right corner. Now into Adese. Adese working on Bonito, turns, shoots, no good. And up the floor comes BCA with 4 seconds left, picked up by Quain. Quain over to Uju, who shoots it after the buzzer, and we will go into quarter time with the score La Salette 27, Broadfording, BCA 16, and getting ready for some second period action after the brief break here.
Yeah, I see BCA making a bit of a run there to close out the quarter. La Salette not having the second big man Garrett Drew in the game around the hoop to contribute with boxing out and rebounding. BCA was able to collect a lot more stuff off the glass there and limit La Salette's shot opportunities. So let's see if Drew goes into the game to start off the second period of play here.
And you'll have to say, this tournament is going to be a bit more of a challenge on those legs than anything the Lions have done thus far this year. Obviously, they did play in the Watseka Holiday Tourney and the Tri-County Turkey Tourney, but those teams were not running with the Lions up and down the floor.
Oh, goodness, no.
Anywhere, playing 5 games in 4 days at the Watseka Holiday Tourney is nothing like playing 3 games in 3 days here at the NCSAA championship game.
Yeah, and even now, BCA, who gets the ball up the floor relatively quickly. I mean, it seems slow to us compared to watching Trinity and New Faith the previous 2 days. They were just so lightning quick.
And Quain takes the inbounds pass to get the second quarter underway. He picks up his dribble, swings it around, and now it's with Schrader down low to Burns, turning and shooting, and he's short. Rebound by Belov, who quickly takes it up the floor to Durst, who has a little trouble with it. Kicks it back out to Dillinger, now back with Belov, who drives in, up off the glass and good, and now that lead is back to single digits for the Lions. Moss has it. He goes to Adese, who has it stripped away by Dillinger. Had a 2-on-1, doesn't use the pass, and instead gets fouled by Ian Burns, who shakes his head at the referee. Again, it's going to be a bit of a learning experience for both teams, having to deal with this referee, who's been notorious for being a little bit tighter of a caller throughout the tournament. I think BCA had him yesterday, so they might have had a little bit of a chance to get used to him.
Yeah, absolutely right, Coach. He calls things more tightly. Burns was just sticking his hand up there on the play, but got a little too close to Dillinger.
Both free throws good, so it's 27-20 with 7:19 to play in the first half. Adese has it. He draws a double team and puts the ball on the floor to dribble out. And Uju called for reaching in. I think he got all ball as well. But it's getting called both ways.
Where you see the Lions, the BCA Lions devoting a lot of attention to Adese every time he's anywhere close to catching the ball. He's swarmed by the BCA players. And as we said, Coach, that foul, which is the next foul, puts the La Salette Lions in the 1-1. So Adese will go to the line.
Now for the next 7 minutes, all the free throws, or all fouls, will be at least one free throw, potentially two. And Adese good on the first. He'll get the back end of the front and one. The front and one.
The front and one.
And the second one rattles around, doesn't go. So it's an 8-point lead as Uju takes it up the floor. Gives it to Dillinger, who takes an 18-foot jumper short. And Quain gets the long rebound. He's being hassled all the way up the floor. Draws a double team. He finds Moss eventually with a tip pass. Will Schrader can't get the handle, and there's the double team coming again for Quain. Now down low to Adese, who's tripled. Ball ripped out of his hands and thrown out of bounds by Durst. Lions need to calm down. Like I said, if there's a double or a triple team, there's space somewhere on that basketball court.
Yeah, bringing a hard triple team, maybe a little more ball movement from La Salette.
There was that space as Burns was wide open, unguarded on the inbound, and got a three. And we hear a whistle, timeout.
I think that timeout's called by Coach Anderson after the shot was made, asking the referee for a quick, yes, it is called by La Salette.
Score.
He maybe wants to make some defensive adjustments against BC. Have been having open lanes to the basket and being able to get inside on the Lions.
And the score was 6:36 to play is Lions 31, Lions 20. Obviously, La Salette Lions winning it. But so far, it has been a fairly good performance from the Lions, you'd have to say. A little bit rushed in that last pressure situation, and they'll definitely have to be a bit more composed. You can't. We saw that against Bishop McNamara in the Watsika tourney. The Lions started receiving pressure, and they've unraveled a bit. So Lions have to protect this lead. They are certainly looking the better team out there when they are composed, though.
Yeah, I think we have a skill advantage on BCA. Not that they're unskilled, and a size advantage, except, of course, for number 5 for Rodfording.
And you wonder when Garrett Drew will come back in to try and impose his big body on the game. And there's a charge called, drawn by Ian Burns. And it'll be Lions basketball from the baseline, or from the end line. Quain brings it up the floor. He is guarded by Dillinger. He kicks to Moss. Moss looks to pass and passes it inside to nobody but a blue jersey. Uju slows it down before bringing up the floor, kicking to Durst, then finds a cutting Beloff, who can't get the layup to go, and there's a whistle as well.
That foul is going to go against Will Schrader, called by the other referee on the court there, not our friend that we've been talking about this entire game long, but his associate. It's only a 2-man refereeing crew in here, Coach, as opposed to the 3-man crew that we've seen throughout this entire season and the 3-man crew that we've seen in the main gym. as we moved off the center court after losing our second game in the side gym here where we're playing.
And we see Tommy Bronner check into the game for Will Schrader. Schrader's been a bit frenetic with his energy here in the second quarter, so hoping that Bronner will bring a little bit more composure. Moss being hassled, and he tries to throw a pass to Ian Burns, and Ian Burns with
like a leg sweep going on
leg sweep, and he's grabbing his knee as he comes up. On the other end, Dillinger gets the 2, and Burns is limping a little bit. We'll have to watch that and make sure he's all right. Quain drives into a triple team and has the ball taken away from him. People need to be cutting into space when those double and triple teams come.
Yeah, and the Lions seemingly forcing things a little bit here against BCA. It's a wide open look, wide open basket.
And that lead back down to 7 points as Uju gets himself 2. And Bronner not moving where Quain wants him to. And we've got another turnover by the Lions, La Salette Lions. Uju slowing it down. He throws it into Durst, kicking back to Uju, around to Beloff, who drives to Burns, who draws the charge. Had his feet set, saw that coming all day. And Beloff did not have his eyes focused on the planted redhead standing in the paint.
Yeah, Beloff was already looking up to find the shooter in the corner. He wasn't driving in to shoot, he was trying to kick it back outside. And taking his eyes away from the defender, Ian was able to set up and do a nice job drawing the charge there.
Burns comes around, then to Adese, guarded by Uju, takes a long 2, gets it to go.
That's a beautiful shot by Adese.
He's been taking a lot of those today.
Move there, raising up in the air and elevating, hanging in the air for a second, and making that long jump shot.
Dillinger to Mo McGallis, who's getting his first minutes wearing the number 4 jersey. And there's a 3 for Uju. Now just a 6-point ball game. Quain comes into the front court, moves it across to Schrader, working on Durst, has his pass knocked away. Dillinger coming back the other way, goes up off the glass, and it's a 4-point ball game with 4 minutes, 11 seconds to go here in the first half of basketball. Lions teetering on the edge of losing this lead that they've had the entire game. Burns turns, goes with it, too strong, and rebounded by Dillinger, who calmly brings it up the floor for BCA. He's working on Quain. Goes to the left to Durst. Now top of the key with Beloff. Beloff picks up his dribble. Goes to Morgales, who puts up a shot. Long 3, no good. And Beloff's putback attempt, no good either. Coach Anderson calls a timeout.
A full timeout. And a very smart decision by the coach, by Coach Anderson, with the Lions looking out of sorts offensively. I mean, the past few possessions, we've thrown the ball almost right into the BCA players' hands here, except for the couple missed shots that we've seen, not being on the same wavelength here. So he's probably going to talk to the Lions about the offense that he wants to be set and run.
A lot of Lions in this game, a lot of guys going by the name Coach.
Yeah, it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
You see BCA putting a lot of pressure on La Salette after La Salette went up by double digits against them. Pressure especially on the ball handlers, on Schrader, and anytime Adese has had a sniff at the basketball, there's 3 BCA players swarming around him. So
that's what we saw Trinity do on Thursday night, or Thursday afternoon as well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they put a lot of attention to Joel. The Trinity players were able to help defense on him and then recover incredibly quickly. You know, they were so good at seeing their man away from the ball that it was hard for the Lions to get much ball movement, even with that added pressure on Joel.
And you see Quain being harassed from the moment he crosses the timeline. And a whistle for a kickball, and it'll stay with La Salette, being called from the ref on the half-court line there, seeing something that the man on the ball couldn't see.
Seeing something from behind. It might have been better for the Lions to have a no call there, as we would have had the ball in scoring position.
Instead, the Lions turn it over, and Uju brings it into the front court. He goes to Durst, trying to drive past Quain. He puts up a floater, gets hacked by Schrader. And he'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Schrader trying to shift over there to help on the drive by number 30 for the BCA Lions. Not having his feet set on the play, bumps the player as he goes in towards the basket.
First one no good. Second free throw by Durst coming. And that one is good. So for the first time since early in the first quarter, it is a 1-possession game. Will Schrader has it. He draws a double team, finds Quain, cuts to the hoop. With the right hand, he finishes and extends that lead back to 5. Breaks a long scoring drought for the Lions. And tries to end that BCA run. Belov has the pass inside to him, picked off by Burns. Burns has the ball stripped out of his hands as he goes to the hoop. And it'll be Lions basketball to inbound from the baseline.
We really need to get something going towards the basket here, Coach, as Adese comes into the game for Will Schrader.
Adese can't, well, he does get the catch the inbounds pass, but he can't get that jumper from the free throw line to go. And momentum definitely on the side of the guys in blue.
Yeah, with the Lions being in the bonus here, Salette Lions being in the bonus here, Coach, we really need to drive in and try to get something going towards the hoop. On BCA, which we haven't tried to do, we've been settling for jump shots away from the basket.
And Quain called for the foul there. That is the 7th foul against the Salette Lions, and so it will be 1-1 for Dillinger. And we haven't seen the big guy Bonito in for a while, really since BCA started going on this run, so perhaps that's a strategy, going small here, that we'll see throughout the game for.
Yeah, defensively, I think in particular, works out better for BCA. They're able to pressure around the court a little better without Benito in the ball game, since he's much slower than the substitutes that they have in.
And it's
two made free throws. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's a 3-point game. Moss goes to the floor. He finds Adese against Durst. Drives in to the hoop. He goes. 5-point ball game again.
We saw number 4 for BCA trying to Mo Magalese trying to slide over and get in front of Adese, but Adese just swooped in right over him and scored easily. And there's number 0 for BCA, Dillinger, trying to go towards the basket. There's some contact, but he traveled before the contact was made. So possession will go back to the Lions, now up by 5 points and trying to stretch that advantage further.
Well, that was another point where the Lions probably would have preferred no whistle. Adese gets the ball incredibly close, but the Lions were running there and then had a fast break opportunity denied by the travel call because they already got the turnover and steal. Belov down low to Dillinger, who's picked up by Quain. Back out to Belov. Drives in, a nice inside pass to Durst, who gets 2 points. And 3 points is the lead as we go into the final minute 30 of this first half. Adese's got it to Moss up top for 3, and it's good.
Ooh, very big basket by Caleb Moss. Very nice to see him shooting the ball with confidence in a close game there.
He's got 3 from that exact same spot in this game, about just outside the college 3-point line on the floor.
And there's a great play by Thomas Bronner.
Burns dives on the ball and calls a timeout.
Yeah, number 1 for BCA, Dan Belov was driving towards the basket there, and Bronner just slid over to help and was able to swat the ball out of his hands, and Burns dove on the floor to pick it up there to get possession back to the Lions, now up by 6 with just 1 minute and 3 seconds to play in this first half.
And the Lions, if they can finish with a little run here and go into halftime with a bit of momentum, I'm sure they would be feeling very good to come out, finish off the second half of the game strong.
Yeah, we need to keep putting this little run together that we have going. We were comfortably in control of the game early, and then I think the substitution, the adjustment, that BCA made and the pressure that they were able to put on the Lions when they were on defense, sort of knocked us out of our rhythm and enabled them to climb right back into it. So hopefully we've adjusted now to the pressure. We started taking it to the basket, which is what you want to do when a team's overplaying you, and we'll be able to add to this lead here.
And we'll watch carefully to see what happens with that BCA big man, Bonito, wearing number 5, because he has taken off one of his knee braces and he's wrapped up in towels. So not sure what that means for him for the rest of the game, but his team would be pretty happy at the moment as they bring it back within 4 points. Quain comes over the timeline, goes to Bronner, then to Adese, who kicks to Bronner. Quain up top. Bronner down low to Adese, who draws the foul from Uju. Uju's trying to say the foul should have been, there should be a technical going against Joel Adese, who turned around and stared him down after the foul was called.
Adese and Uju getting very physical in the low block there. Uju matching up against the La Salette big man in the absence of Bonito.
Dese's just making friends with all the BCA guys.
Joel's a physical player in the post, and I think number 23 for BCA was trying to draw a foul on him.
First free throw is good, and the BCA coach is going to have Uju sit down and cool off for a bit, and brings Dan Belov back into the game. Adese hits his second as well. Adese playing a little bit of mind games with number 23. You're going to wear that number 23, you better be awfully composed. Can't get mad from a foul not going your way.
I know, especially
Durst takes a long three.
Former UNC legend, Michael Jordan.
And there's the halftime hooter after we saw that rushed 3 by Durst. Missed to the right. And the halftime score here in Mount Vernon, Ohio, 42-36. La Salette leads BCA. And now we're going to get ready for the final, the second part of Father McMahon's final reflections on his time here as the headmaster at La Salette, specifically regarding the La Salette basketball program. So we hope you'll enjoy that, and we'll join you again in a few minutes.
I think then we talked about that. I was going to preface, but I guess I'll post-face just a few things I want to talk about, just to name the captains. So Nathan Sick, 06, Charles Deister from 7, Eric Populus, 2008, Adam Gates, 2009, John Carlisle, 2010, Isaac Daly, 2011, Joseph Middlemore, 2012, Anthony Oberg, 2013, Dominic Martin, 2014, Michael Carlisle, 2015, Peter Middlemore, 2016, James Deister, 2017, and then this year's captain of the best regular season wins with 23 and 4, Ian Burns. Then lastly, the Hammer Awards, which a number of them are basketball players. We didn't do it before 2010. The John M. Carlisle Hammer Award, of course, he won it in 2010. Isaac Daly won the award in 2012. 2014 was Dominic Martin, and then a non-basketball player, Michael Genetasio, God rest his soul, just passed away just a few months ago. 16, 2 basketball players, the captain Peter Middlemore, and then John Warnowski, and then last year's winner, James Deister, who was also the captain. So a number of basketball players who are Hammer Award winners, those who had an unusual and unique dedication being better in the athletic form, and in this case, specifically basketball. I think that covers a lot. I would like to finish. Thanks for the interview. Thanks for I think last time you thanked the boys who helped put together. I think Michael Latz did a lot of work on getting this together. I think to wrap up, this is it. 13 years at the academy, 13 years of La Salette basketball. The ups and downs, a lot of great memories. I want to thank all the players who, put in the time, especially those who really put in the time to get better. I think the benefits are clear. The program itself was started out from zero, from nothing, not having a single game. I think my dad, the original AD and the founder of the La Salette athletic program, he got us started in rugby in the area. Also got us the referees, accounts out on the phone to get the games. Got us that patchwork season to start it off, and then we built from there. The gym, of course, is now dedicated to his tireless efforts in that realm. So a very special thanks to him. And I think of course, a lot of painful moments, but I think just a lot of joyful ones too. To watch the boys play, compete, and to get better and to improve over the years. I will say that to finish it up, I think it's funny, and I don't know why. I've always been, obviously, my family's been into sports. We've always been quite balanced because my family always said the Catholic first, our academic achievements and that, but they're all very important and we're very intense. My dad played basketball and baseball. Older brother played football in New Hampshire. My younger brother played basketball in Pennsylvania. They played professionally in Australia. I played, of course, 3 sports in high school. I played basketball in college. So it's been very important to us. But now, all the other sports mean nothing. The La Salette athletics, it's been, and I was just saying to my nephew and now assistant, Father Rigi, who's also an alumnus of the basketball program, that I don't know why, and it might be a bit irrational, but it just meant so much. Those games meant so much to me. I think they meant something more because of the amount of time put in by the boys, what it means to them, but I think that just it represented the academy outside the walls. And when we beat teams, especially teams that had storied programs and around for years, it just meant something. Meant something more.
Well, I hate to put you on the spot, but I think it would be really nice if we could hear if you have just one top moment in the, is it 13 years, is that right?
Yeah.
One top moment in 13 years for the basketball program.
It's impossible to put it into one because they all flood through. I mean, the first Corona, even more so that second one down at St. Mary's when everyone said the first was just a fluke and it didn't, there's no way you could beat them again. Any one of those. Watching, I think, any of the moments when the boys step up and show some poise and put their hard effort and work into practice and it pays off in a game, those are always immensely satisfying moments. Is there any one, the Indiana championship, some of the great plays? I still think if I have to say it just jumps out at me, it's got to be, if I on the spot, gun to the head, what's the biggest moment? It's not necessarily the biggest game, although at the time it was huge. It's got to be Deister's 3 foul shots. I mean, that just encapsulates almost everything. It's it's coming out moment. We're playing a game the year before. They beat us by 18 points in our very first season. They come here. We beat them in that game. It's an established high school for years in the area. In that sense, it was a huge win. It's 3 miles up the road. It was tense. It was standing room only. And then in the sphere itself, the captain steps to the line, down by 2, 16 seconds. Hits all 3 foul shots. That says it all. La Salette forever.
Well, Father McMahon, thanks for sitting down with me over the past few weeks. And for our families, thank you for watching. I'm sure you've appreciated Father McMahon's knowledge.
Thank you for all the support.
All hail, hail to the Lion, rise now, to glory we go. All hail.
Folks, welcome back. Sorry I had to cut that a little bit short. We will have the full Final Reflections video of Father McMahon on our YouTube channel after we get to a place with a little bit better Wi-Fi, like I mentioned. And we see Quinn get an early steal and then chuck the ball over Joel Adesse's head to get the third quarter underway.
And the Lions were led in that first half of play, Coach, by Joel Adese with 17 points, seconded by Caleb Moss with 11. Egan Quain, number 24 for the Lions, had 6. Number 33, Garrett Drew, had 5. And number 30, the captain, Ian Burns, had 3. And then the BCA Lions were led by number 0, Isaiah Dillinger, with 10 points. Dan Belov had 4. Number 5, Benito had 4. Number 12, Nick Dreyer, had 5. Number 23, Uju, had 7. And number 30, Daniel Durst, had 6. Lions outscored the BCA 27-16 in the first quarter, but were outscored by them 20-15 in the second.
And we see Coach Anderson asking, wasn't that foul on the floor? And the ref responding, that ref that we said was a bit touchy, calling a bit tighter of a game, responding by warning him and saying next time Coach Anderson questions a call, it will be a technical. So we'll see if Coach Anderson's on his best behavior going forward. Dese goes into the lane, can't get the floater to go. And Moss hassles Benito a little bit, but finally the ball goes up the court through Durst, who drives to the hoop. And it's a 2-point ball game. 7 minutes to go here in the third period.
Durst making a great move to the basket there, Coach.
Burns kicks to Quain, who steps in, draws contact from Dreyer, who we've seen throughout this tournament have a bit of trouble controlling his body. He committed a flagrant foul yesterday in a really, really scary moment as he threw a player to the ground who was going up for a layup. And so there he fouls Egan Quain, who will have 2 free throws. First free throw, good. Extends that lead to 3. And Garrett retreats down the court. Second free throw coming. It goes as well, so that lead up to 4 points, 6:56 to play in the third. Dillinger has it, and the Lions are pressing. And press is broken. Quain is limping around a little bit. And that doesn't look pleasant. Hopefully he's all right. He has a ball taken out of his hands, but
he's grabbing his groin area, Coach, to see if maybe planted wrong and pulled something there.
We'll hope not. We'll hope it's nothing serious. He seems to be laughing a little bit, so you'd think he might be fine. And Burns gets tied up. Possession arrow facing the Lions.
Well, ends up by a single basket there, running their design sideline inbounds play. Burns ran around and caught the pass.
And Caleb Moss getting backed into a little corner like a Mack truck. So he's actually fully out of bounds. Not a ton of room there on that out of bounds line. And foul called as Burns goes to the hoop. Shot that ball from underneath the hoop. His head was behind the backboard as he tried to lay it in.
Yeah, and we've seen him make shots from that angle many times throughout the year, Coach. Number 30, the captain, able to drive in under the basket and then with his long arms reach around from behind the backboard and make difficult layups.
First free throw is good by the senior.
That foul on the play is on number 5, Benito. And we'll see how things unfold with him as the game progresses. If he's able to stay out of foul trouble.
Second free throw is good from the captain as well, so it's a 4-point basketball game, 6:28 to play here in the third.
A little bit more breathing room now with the being a 2-possession game, but the Lions still could use a stop here.
Durst on a long 3, no good, and fight for the rebound. Ball out of bounds as Garrett Drew dove for it, but he was out of bounds when he touched it on the floor.
And Joel Adese went down and got both hands on the basketball. BCA players didn't let him grab a hold of it and pull it in, however, contesting possession.
And Dillinger for a long 3 as well. His rolls off the rim, and Adese will claim that rebound. He gives it to Moss. Moss working on Uju. Goes to Quain. Up top with Adese, then to Burns. Burns drives in from the free throw line, is a little too strong, and rebound by Durst. Durst gives outlets to Uju, who takes it up the floor and goes into the lane, tries to go coast to coast, but Benito with the follow is good, and that lead down to 2 again. Moss working on Durst, being pressured from the very second he came over the timeline, gets a little bit of space, dishes to Garrett Drew, and draws a body foul late as Uju came down on top of him a bit, and Drew will shoot 2 free throws.
Very nice play by Moss, the junior, driving to the basket, looking the defender away from where Garrett Drew was on the opposite block and finding him with a nice little pass inside.
And Uju in a bit of foul trouble is going to have to sit down as Belov gets ready to check into the game for him.
The first free throw by Drew is no good. He needs to sink the second one here. We need everything that we can get from the line against this BCA team.
Especially with one of their best players sitting. Drew's second free throw is good, and it's a 3-point game, 5:29 to play here in the third. Dillinger comes up the floor with the basketball in hand. He gets a little pick from Durst. Now Durst has it. He tries to throw it in the post. Has it knocked away by Quain, but then it's up the court to Adese, who gets his man in the air and then goes up off the glass. 5-point game.
Ooh, yeah, that was very nice play by the Lions. Adese smartly releasing down the court and then finding him under the basket. And then he did a great job again staying composed and finishing, which looked like through contact, it looked like it could have easily been an and one for the La Salette big man.
Burns tipped the ball by jumping the passing lane, and Moss dove on top of it. Possession arrow favors BCA, so it'll still be their basketball.
And that's a great play by Burns, coach. It's a great job to tie that up there. Since BCA had the next jump ball, that means now that any close jump ball, late in the game, there's anything going on, possession arrow, the next one will favor La Salette.
Well, that's the inbounds, presumably for the fourth quarter, unless we see another jump ball.
That's right.
And Adese comes up with the rebound on the missed shot. He will dribble it up the floor himself for a few seconds and then wisely give it to Moss. Moss, defended by Durst, picks up his dribble, goes right side to Burns, then to Adese, who swings it around the horn to Quain. Burns from the free throw line, gets it to rattle in, and that lead is now 7 with 4 minutes 12 to go here. 51-44 Lions lead. And this one's a bit of, there's been no lack of scoring in it.
No, yeah, it's been back and forth. Lions need to keep putting this little run that they have going together to really get comfortably in control here in the third quarter.
And Burns, now that he's got that matchup on Dreyer, he's jumping the passing lane a lot, perhaps thinking he's got a bit of a step on him. Adese knocks the ball free. Quain up the floor to Adese, one-on-one. And a charge called from very far away from the basket from a very enthusiastic referee.
Yeah, he is making a lot of calls in this game.
Well,
number 0 was underneath the hoop there, trying to draw that charge. It's the only thing he could do with Adese having such a size advantage on Dillinger under the basket. And if it's an obvious flop like that, you think that it should be let go, but
the ref closer here on the baseline didn't say anything, didn't blow his whistle at all. But the other night, I think I was counting in a 3-man team, this guy was blowing his whistle 5 or 6 times for every one whistle from everyone else in his 3-man panel.
Goodness.
So he was
now he only has one guy to compete with today.
Enthusiastic. He's winning. He's winning the whistle count. And another foul blown. This one going against Joel Adese, and Adese picking up 2 quick fouls will have to check out of the ball game. Second team foul against the Lions. They've got a 9-point lead. That's his 4th. Coach Anderson gives us a little signal there from the bench. And so Lions will have to eat up some minutes without one of their key seniors. Rebound by Moss. Now pushing up the floor quickly with Quain. Quain Euro steps, has his shot rejected, but then Moss puts it back on the rim. He can't get it to go either. Dillinger sprinting back the other way, slowed down by Burns, finally gets into the front court and drives up and puts it in. Brings the lead back down within 7, and timeout is called by BCA. 2:27 to play here in the third quarter. 53-26, or 53-46. 53-26 is perhaps what the La Salette fans would like it to be right now.
Yeah, this game has been extremely close, and BCA has La Salette in a good striking position here, Coach, only being behind by 7 points. And with the Lions back on their heels a little bit and our big man in foul trouble, they're set to try to make another run. Of course, they're affected by Uju being out of the basketball game quite a bit, but still, they've done a good job driving the ball to the basket and trying to, to take control of the tempo.
Well, this is a moment for someone else on that Lions, on the court for the Lions right now to step up. There are plenty of big-time performers out there. Egan Quain, Ian Burns, Caleb Moss, to name a few. It would be great right now to see Caleb Moss be the college prospect we all know him to be, but who we perhaps haven't seen quite as much during this tournament, and it looks like we're going to get a press here from BCA. Maybe not. They'll pull back immediately after showing it. There's Will Schrader with the ball on the right side. He goes down low to the post with Burns, who draws another whistle.
I think that whistle is going to be on number 0, Dillinger.
Quain
now inbounding under the basket. Oh, nice play.
Right to Drew, who gets it up quickly, and now it's 55-46 Lions lead with 2 minutes, 6 seconds to play in the third quarter. Lions leading it from wire to wire, though it's gotten pretty close here of late, really in that second quarter. Coach Anderson asking for a travel, but not getting it. Durst drives into the big body of Drew and can't get a good shot off. Moss driving in with a little move in the air. He gets it to go, and the Lions have their double-digit lead again with 1:30 left in the third. And the Lions going into a 3-2 zone look, it would appear.
Not a bad idea, Coach. With a quicker, with this lineup, a quicker BCA team on the court. The Lions still have a marked size advantage.
But Durst not closed out on, and then the smallest guy in the floor, Magalis, Magalis comes in and snatches an offensive rebound, but that inside pass is too hot to handle for Beloff, and it will be the Lions with possession with 1 minute to play here in the third. Moss to Drew, down low to Burns, and a foul called on the floor. And that will be the Lions inbound from the left side of the hoop here on the baseline. A couple of substitutions made. And we're seeing the first action for number 20 on BCA, Tontis Bergelis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Moss to Schrader, back to Moss, wide open for 3. No good.
Look at leaving his hand too. That would have been a nice make for him to stretch the Lions lead even further than the 11-point margin that they have over BCA. BCA needed to get some more size into the game since the Lions, although Adese wasn't in the game, we still have Drew, Burns, and Moss, who are all quite large presences on the inside there, and BCA didn't really have any size down low. So now with number 5 Benito and number 20 Bergelis, they can maybe mix things up a bit in the paint.
That's good for the La Salette Lions, though. The Lions struggle a bit with smaller, quicker teams, so putting more big men in the game will potentially provide a little bit of a tactical advantage for La Salette. And there's a kick, and the inside pass trying to get it inside to Benito, and it will be Magalis to inbound from this right side here, standing on the other basketball court.
And we see that the referee talking to number 30 Durst, who is Oh, goodness.
What a pass right there to find Bergelis wide open underneath the hoop for 2. Quain drives in, hits it off the knee of a BCA player, but it goes out to Burns to Schrader for 3. No good. And we go into three-quarter time with the Lions leading the Lions 57-48, La Salette ahead. And a 9-point game, 8 more minutes of basketball to go. The foul count is 5 to the 5 team fouls for the BCA Lions, 2 for your La Salette Lions, though 2 big fouls going against Joel Adese. Those were his 3rd and 4th here, picked up in the 3rd quarter. So we'll see how long Coach Anderson waits to bring him back into the game. Similar situation on the other side with number 23, Uju. You wonder how long BCA can go without him. That lead getting extended a bit with him on the floor, on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely right, Coach. Adese leads the Lions in the scoring column with 19 points. Moss seconds him now with 13, and Garrett Drew has 10. Egan Quain has 8, Ian Burns has 7. So Burns getting a couple of baskets in that 3rd quarter of play.
And Moss hits 3 big threes in that first half, but he hasn't been able to connect. He's only taken 1 in the second, and he wasn't able to connect on it. You would hope that he might be able to get going from deep again, because if he's on from there, it's really, really hard it's hard to score as many points as these Lions.
You see the referees talking to the Lions, and all the Lions, so BCA and La Salette at half court there.
Quain brings it over the timeline. He gets a weak shoulder, drives in, and his pass for Drew goes harmlessly out of bounds. So Uju, who's back on the floor, inbounds it to Dillinger. Dillinger steps past Quain, takes a long 2. No good. Garrett Drew snaps that up, and he's running up the floor and passes it to Magalis, excuse me. And foul whistle. I believe that was a foul.
Yeah, the foul is being called on Quain. He penetrated into the middle there, Coach, and all the BCA players were all pulled far off of him, kind of daring him to shoot the basketball. Egan tries to force a pass inside, which leads to possession going back to BCA.
And Garrett Drew, you don't want to see your big man trying to dribble it up the floor. Just calm down, find an outlet pass. Durst for 3 from the left corner, no good. And the ball comes out of Bergelis' hands, and Ian Burns gets it. He outlets to Moss. Finally, a guard takes it up the floor. Moss gets a wide open lane, but then he kicks to Bronner, now with Quain. Down low to Moss, and again, a whistle coming from far away from the action. And that is the 6th foul going against BCA.
One more foul, and the Lions are in the bonus, which it would be a key development for them in this 4th quarter of play here, being able to go to the line anytime they're fouled.
And that's one of the downsides of not having a 3-man team. You have only one guy near the ball, and he was a bit distracted, but he, I believe, rightly decided it was the La Salette ball. It was knocked out of the hands of a Lions player. So,
and a lot of side noise going on here as well, Coach. A game going on right next to us, girls game. So there's all kinds of other whistles and yells and other noises to distract the officials away from the task at hand.
Garrett Drew just one hand palms it as he steals it, the pass. And the Lions come back the other way through Moss. Moss steps past his man, goes up with a little floater and puts it in.
Finally, Coach.
And Bronner with the steal. He finds Quain. Quain driving against Bergelis and draws the foul. I didn't even see Bronner down there still. I'm certain the boys in blue didn't either. And that's going to lead to 2 free throws for Quain, as that lead is on 11 and the Lions trying to cement it in double digits.
Yeah.
We see Joel Adese after this free throw waiting to check into the game, so he'll be playing with 4. And you can bet that on the defensive end he'll be attacked a bit. Quain hits his first free throw.
And it was very refreshing, Coach, to see Moss on that last possession the Lions had dribble it into the lane, and then when all the BCA players, you know, kind of peeled off of him, making the correct decision and just shooting that easy little jump shot in the lane there, easy basket.
That second free throw touches about all the rim and then falls off. And Uju has it. He hits Dillinger, who is wide open, and foul is called on the floor. And that's going against number 33, Garrett Drew.
Garrett Drew in the wrong place at the wrong time there.
And Captain Ian Burns pointing out everyone's assignments. It seems there might have been a little bit of confusion as Dillinger is wide open, and Garrett Drew gets called again for very limited contact, and all of a sudden the Lions have 6 fouls as well.
La Salette is already in the bonus, Coach.
Durst's quick turnaround, no good, and Burns rebounds. He's pushing it up the floor, and he finds Moss, who goes up to the hoop strong, extends that lead to 14 with under 6 minutes to go in the game. Uju takes it over the timeline for BCA, goes up with it, and air balls. Garrett Drew on the rebound. Quain to Moss, who's pushing. He goes into the lane, splits through Uju's pressure, but can't get it to go. Neither can Garrett Drew on the putback attempt. Uju quickly the other way, kicks back out to Dreyer. Dreyer to Dillinger. Dillinger to Megalis, who shoots the 3 short, but Uju gets the offensive rebound.
Uju showing a lot of energy coming off his little rest on the bench there.
Well, him and Adese should both have plenty of energy, having to rest most of that third quarter. Uju almost a bit longer than Adese, almost the entire third. And he had to rest a bit of the second. Burns pulls up, no good. Moss cutting into the lane, gets the rebound and the putback. 14-point ball game, 64-50. La Salette leads. 4 minutes, 58 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter.
And that's going to move Moss to up to 19 points in this game, Coach. Tied with Adese as the Lions' leading scorer. He stepped up quite nicely in the second half and made several nice plays.
And Adese not ready for Megalis' pass that goes straight into his hands. There's a jump ball. Adese just didn't think the pass would come right to him.
No, there was no way to expect that. He was shifting over in defensive position, and the ball just
Hit him
popped
square in the
literally
stomach.
onto his thigh. Yeah.
Hit him in the gut. And
We lost a lap basketball here.
See Megalis steps out after that little lapse in judgment, and it is Bonito coming in, and that's probably going to be a bit frustrating to have to take off the smaller, quicker guy.
Well, yeah, I imagine he might be matched up against Garrett down low.
And possession arrow was corrected by the referees. Now it is a BCA ball, and Garrett Drew takes a knee, decides to tie his shoe. Slow down the game a little bit more.
Gonna give everybody a bit of a rest here.
Ball inbounded to Uju at the top. Now with Dillinger, he gets a screen from Bonito and uses it and can't quite hit Uju, and the ball goes off his hands, out of bounds. It'll be La Salette basketball. Uju's got to be careful. I've seen this ref give a few techs in this tournament for very limited back chat.
Yeah, Uju was kind of a little bit upset there. He thought that the call should have gone the other way.
Adese against Durst, kicks it over to Quain, who can't catch it well enough to shoot. He has his little runner rejected. Swatted a bit into the hands of Uju to Dillinger, who runs into Drew, who was shuffling his feet, and
Commits the blocking foul on the play there.
Dillinger is holding his leg, and you hope he's all right.
That's got it. Well, that's at least 3 fouls on Garrett Drew.
And it was a bit of an acting job by Drew, you'd have to say there. He acted like he went flying. I don't think anyone's going to buy that the much smaller, maybe a $1.50 soaking wet Dillinger is going to send the big number 33, the Big House Drew. Is it Big House Drew?
It's the Big House, yeah. The Big House is Garrett Drew, yeah.
Big House and Big Baby Drew. It's good to see him on his feet, though. Dillinger is able to put a little weight on it, but he is calling for support to get off the court. We hope that he'll be all right, and he'll be a big loss for BCA in the final 4 minutes of this ball game.
Yeah, they're going to miss his quickness and his ball handling ability. He's played very well today against La Salette, giving our guards all that they can handle around the perimeter. So yeah, that's a big loss for BCA.
And he's not putting any weight on that left leg. I believe it's his left leg. Yeah, left leg. And you run into a big guy like Garrett Drew, it is hard. It'll be 2 free throws, not just the 1-and-1. It was the 7th team foul on the Lions. Megalis checks into the game, and he will take those free throws.
Dillinger was the one fouled on the play, so he would have been the shooter, but that injury means somebody else has to. So
that first free throw good for Megalis.
now cuts the lead to 13 points. Coach, 64-51, La Salette. 4 minutes and 7 seconds to go in this basketball game.
Second free throw pure as well. And here comes Adese to Moss to Quain. Quain kicks to Burns. Doesn't get a clean handle on it, so he can't go straight into his shot. Now it's with Adese near the free throw line. Drew back to Adese in the high post. Hits a cutting Garrett Drew.
What a fantastic play, Coach. Adese spun around. Uju is standing in front of him and having both of his hands out to hassle Adese. He was expecting him to shoot there, but Adese just picks up his head, sees Drew under the hoop, and makes the nice pass down to him. There's Uju answering back with a 2-pointer.
Quain
Keep the lead at 12 points.
Quain brings it over the timeline. There's Burns. His shot short, but Moss gets the rebound. He kicks up top to Quain. Quain drives in with a little floater, and a very, very enthusiastic charge call going against Egan Quain.
So now the lead's still at 12 points, Coach. 66-54, La Salette.
I don't think I've ever seen a referee run so far in the motion of calling a charge. He moved.
I haven't either.
He moved quick, though. He moved quick for a man in stripes. And competition for that rebound. The ball goes practically to the roof. And there's a travel called against number 5, Benito, as he tried to go back to the hoop.
La Salette being fortunate there because the big unit there, Benito, was in full possession of the basketball with a full head of steam towards the hoop. Not much is going to stop him, so it could have been an easy 2-pointer for BCA.
Down low to Adese, spinning to the hoop. Strong, but can't get it to go. Uju receives the outlet pass from Dreyer. He drives quickly against Quain into Burns, and another charge call going against Uju this time, and that's his 5th foul. So now it would seem that BCA are going to lose Uju, a second starter, after Dillinger goes down with an injury to his left leg. And
yeah, Uju's already headed over to the bench there, as the coach has number 1 for them, Belov, check into the game.
And here comes the pressure. Burns receives the inbounds pass. He's quickly up the floor to Drew. Down low to Adese at the elbow. Now comes Quain into the paint, and as many fouls as being called in this game. I think Quain a little shocked not to get it for that contact, as he kind of flew awkwardly through the air there.
Yeah, he made contact with Benito under the basket there. Ref seeing nothing.
3 from Durst is short. Garrett Drew snaps up that rebound. Quain quickly moving up the floor. Bounce pass to Burns, to Adese, who, would you like to say it, Father? I know you've been waiting all year.
Boom goes the dynamite. Adese throws down the dunk under the basket with ease.
Father Chevrier waiting. It's been, when you told me you wanted to say that back in January, I think. It's been almost 3 full months that you've been planning that one out. Adese in strong, draws the foul, going to the line for 2.
And that dunk by Adese, Coach, will give him 21 points as he once again leads the La Salette Lions in the scoring column.
He's had a quiet 4th quarter. It's his first points on that dunk since and the ref just clonks Adese in the head with the ball as he's adjusting his socks. But that dunk, first points of the game for Adese since he picked up that 4th foul in the 3rd.
First free throw by the La Salette big man is no good.
And we see senior Jay Janis checking into the game, along with senior Will Schrader. Moss and Drew go to the bench. A minute 45 left to go here, and the Lions lead 68-56.
So Coach Anderson is going to want to finish the game with all seniors on the floor, this being the last time that they'll wear the uniform for La Salette.
And we're hoping to see Romero gets in there. Quain commits a blocking foul. Quain might pick up 5 fouls in a second here and force a substitution. Yeah, 6 seniors on this team, and we hope we get to see Romero here in a moment.
Some good minutes from Drew in the ball game. Some very good things that he's been able to do for the Lions.
Durst hits the front end of the 1-and-1. The front and one, as we're going to call it from now on, and not admit that I made a mistake earlier.
Is that what we're going to say?
Yeah, Desse gets the rebound on the second missed free throw attempt.
Desse now being hassled by BCA. Reached in and fouled by number 30. By number 30, who does not like that call.
And here comes Desse to the line. Here comes the first free throw from Joel Desse. 1-and-1. Oh, no, shooting 2, correction. It's,
yeah, they're in the double bonus now.
I guess it looks like the board does not show 10 fouls, not big enough for a 10. Desse's second free throw, and boom goes the dynamite.
Wow.
70-57, minute 32 to play. Megalis jacks a 3 from long range, and now it's only a 10-point ball game. Quain takes the inbounds pass, being hassled up the floor by Megalis, passes it to Burns, who has his shot rejected off the backboard, but straight to Desse, who lays it in from around the rim. And Quain comes up with the steal, gets tied up, jump ball, possession arrow favors La Salette. Though the possession arrow on the scoreboard has been wrong the majority of this game, I believe, every single time. It seems like there's a conference. It's pointing the opposite direction, but they give the ball to La Salette. And Quain hassled again by Megalis, who is swimming on top of the La Salette point guard. Ball kicked out of bounds by Blue, so it'll stay here. Quain will inbound from the right side of the basket.
Just a minute to go in this game, Coach.
And Quain came from out of bounds.
Yeah, he hadn't established his feet in bounds before he touched the ball there, so possession is going to go back to BCA.
Megalis, well, the clock is running, even though he's doing the charade of not touching it as it comes into the front court. Minute left, 54 seconds, 51 seconds. And ball lost out of bounds. Benito can't handle it, so it's La Salette basketball. And we see pressure coming, at least being shown. Quain's being hassled again by the man number 4. Janis passes the ball straight back to Quain, who gets it over the timeline. And, Janis lucky not to get called for a walk there. Ball is on the floor. And Janis goes to the floor now, diving for it. Pretty much every single player on the court on the floor at this point. And cannot save it is Bonito, so it'll be La Salette basketball.
Yeah, as you say, Coach, almost everybody in blue and in white diving on the court after the basketball there.
Quain gets the inbounds pass. He dribbles it over the timeline, picks up his dribble in a double team, gets a foul, and he'll shoot 2. And we see Romero taking a knee by the scorer's table. He will be the 6th La Salette senior to check into this basketball game. 22 seconds left to go. What a season for the Lions.
And the all-time win record, I think, for La Salette in the regular season.
If this scoreline, 13 ahead is La Salette, and if it stays with this way, Lions will win their 24th game, finish it 24-6. Quain puts up the second free throw, and it's good as well. So that's a 14-point advantage. Desse showing a little bit of pressure, then pulling back. And Belov rushes a shot. A foul called from 40 or 50 feet away.
And that foul is going to be on Janis there, Coach.
17 seconds left to go in the ball game. Belov at the line shooting 2, both teams in the double bonus. First free throw is good.
BCA keeping things interesting, Coach, but the Lions being ahead this entire basketball game.
Second free throw goes as well. It's a 12-point game. Quain hassled, trying to get past Megalis, picks up his dribble, now is with Romero. Romero, sensational athlete. He's got his dribble picked up as well. And timeout called by Coach Anderson. As
nearly a 10-second call there, as we were down to 7 seconds, but before that call could be made, Coach Anderson judiciously uses a timeout.
And a good bit of fight shown by BCA Lions here at the end of the game. But with 7 seconds left and a 12-point lead, it would seem one result is inevitable. We're just waiting for final confirmation on it. It's taken a long time today. 2 times we've had to evacuate the building for fire alarms and all kinds of exciting things getting yelled at that we came back inside too quickly.
The firemen being a little upset. The theme of the tournament has been broadcasting through adversity, Coach. So
here's the inbound pass to Janis. Janis just has to hold on to it now. And a foul called. And it looks like it will be Janis going to the line, shooting 2.
And chance for the senior to get some points here in his last game.
Two seconds left, so after these free throws, it'll just about be wrapped up. First free throw does not go.
And see Janis getting some encouragement from Adese there to knock this free throw down and get his point.
It's short, and there's a heave from Megalis that goes straight into the hands of Mr. Quain, proud father of senior Egan Quain, and the final buzzer sounds 74-62. Need an eye check on that one. 74-62, La Salette beats BCA in the final game of the 2017-18 season. Lions finish up 24-6, posting their best regular season record in the school's history, and a great way to finish it up at the end of Headmaster Father McMahon's tenure here. Any final reflections on the season for you, Father?
Well, I'd just like to again comment on how the Lions playing very well today and getting a well-deserved win against a good opponent. And I'd like to commend the team again for playing in the top tier of this tournament and not wanting to end the season on an easy note, playing against softer competition, but going out and competing against the best in the tournament. As we already said on the first day, the team would have had the option of dropping into a lower tier like Gateway Legacy had done, a team that we defeated in a very close game during the season, but to a man they refused, and they wanted to play against the top competition. So even though we leave the tournament having won 1 game and lost 2, still I think it speaks a lot to the character and the quality of our team making that decision.
It's been a fantastic tournament, a fantastic season, and it's been a pleasure to bring all these games to our La Salette family. So for Father Cheveria, I'm Coach Joe Rasmus signing off for the last time this year. We'll see you when rugby season kicks off on March 18th, not too far away. Until then, you guys have a blessed weekend.